Thank you. Meanwhile, stores across America are forced to close their doors, sending retailers spiraling into this crisis. Macy's reportedly looking to raise $5 billion now in debt to avoid bankruptcy. This is the latest in a long list of retailers fighting for survival in this. Neiman Marcus, for example, the first major retailer expected to declare bankruptcy as early as this week. Lord & Taylor also exploring bankruptcy protection in the wake of this pandemic. Joining us right now is retail and sales analyst Erin Sykes. And Erin, it's great to have you this morning. You know, we were looking at a bifurcated market even before the pandemic. I assume now that we are in this and we're all staying at home, the digital transformation in the economy is going to be accelerating with those digital players in retail doing well and the mall department store sector continuing to face pressure. How do you see it?
Absolutely. The department store sector has really faced headwinds for quite a few years. And I do think it's important that we don't use coronavirus as a crutch. Coronavirus is just accelerating what was already happening to these department stores. If you look at someone like Neiman Marcus, they were incredibly over leveraged and they really hadn't been able to invest in any of the new infrastructure and technology that is needed to compete in 2020. Same with JCPenney, Sears, Macy's, et cetera. So we're really seeing more of the same at a faster rate now.
Allie McCartney, jump in.
Yeah, I want to echo what's being said and talk about the concept of the acceleration, right? I mean, we are talking about companies that do not have strong balance sheets, that have not embraced technology, data management, et cetera. So these are old economy stocks which are precipitously being demonstrated that they can't cope in this new environment. And I think that, you know, when you have to be careful too, because as an investor, when you're out there buying indices, you're buying some of these stocks. And that's really why we think fortress balance sheets, great management teams, and those companies that are positioning well for the future are the place to get involved going further from an economic and balance sheet perspective.
Yeah, so what about you, Erin? Do you agree with that? I mean, you've got so much inventory and then fewer consumers right now. Retailers are getting desperate to get rid of seasonal merchandise, resorting to deep discounts in an effort to clear their shelves. That's not doing anything for margins, obviously. The markdowns are so steep. Some are calling it, quote, Black Friday in April. Your thoughts on what you just heard from Allie in terms of investing in this environment?
Sure. Well, I don't think we've even seen some of the discounts that are going to be coming. I've seen a lot of 30%, 25%, but we are really going to see 50, 75% off from major retailers just to clear the inventory, as you mentioned. That said, we also have these retailers really putting the onus on the brands. They're deferring payments to their vendors. So it's going to trickle down, and then you're going to see further discounts from those brands on their D2C sites as well. In terms of investing in this landscape, I think that Walmart, Target, Amazon, and TJX are the places to go.
Dagan.
But none of those discount retailers, and that's what they are, sell the clothing that the department stores do. They just don't. So where are all those customers going to go? Maybe they go, you use the term B2C or business to consumer. Maybe they start going directly to the designers who they've always worn or shopped with. But there's a big trickle-down effect here. I've heard from designers that all these department store chains, they've completely canceled fall. So if designers have put together collections or groups of clothing, they're not going to get purchases from any of these or most of these department store chains. And it's not just brick and mortar. You look at a Net-a-Porter, which is very high end. It's direct. It's only online. It's been shut down completely. You can't order anything online here in the United States or in the UK. They've kept their Hong Kong operation open. So it's not just the brick and mortar that could really struggle in this environment. And one more thing, these department stores have done a hideous job online of communicating with people who have lost their jobs, or lost their loved ones, contracted this virus, or are stuck at home. I looked on, it was the Bergdorf Goodman or the Saks app, and it had a photo of a woman standing next to a horse talking about for your wanderlust desires, wearing a $3,500 dress. And this was literally a week or two ago that I saw this. So instead of being aspirational, they're aspirational. And I don't even know, again, they have missed the boat in 20 years of trying to connect with people, and they have been so off tone. Like, they've had the worst tone in terms of communicating with people. I can't even get my head around it.
Well, they're off tone, but Erin, there are also issues here that are coming up that will be with us for a long time. So, I mean, do you see long-term implications from this shutdown and this pandemic? We know that going into this, as Dagan said, some of them were off tone, and certainly in the middle of a pandemic, that certainly seems to be that. But longer term, what changes to retail are you expecting to stick?
Well, I mean, get used to PPE. Once the stores reopen, you're going to still be wearing protective gear, and then the associates will also be wearing protective gear. We're overstored. We've got 2 to 3 square feet of retail space per person in countries in Europe, and we have 8 to 10 square feet of retail footprint per person in the United States. So expect, the footprints to be cut down 30, 40, 50% in the coming year or so. It's just going to happen really quickly. And then note that part of the reason that some of these retailers are so off tone right now is because they simply don't have anybody in their office updating their websites or their apps or anything. They are literally on a skeleton crew.
But you make a good point. In terms of the square footage. We had Ross Perot Jr. on the other day. He owns a lot of real estate development, and he said that right now e-commerce is about 17% of the overall economy, 18% of the economy. If that just moves to 20%, in this 20% or 22%, he's going to need 1 billion of additional square footage of space in malls to put like an Amazon distribution center or a UPS distribution center. So you're going to see a change in terms of what these malls look like. It's not going to be retail space. That's just the reality of where we are right now.
No, and the square foot, the footprints are going to look more like vending machines. It's going to be more like Amazon Go or the Sam's Test Center that we have down in Texas, where you simply just pick up your items. You're going to order on the apps or online and pick up your items.
Exactly. Erin, thank you so much for weighing in here. Erin Sykes joining us there. Stay with us. Big show ahead. Back in a moment.